All right, folks, welcome back to Who's Your Boy Trades. Talk about a great day in the market. It was nice to see the market up 3% at one point. Finished up just a little over 2.5%. If you watched my last couple videos, you know we were looking for this bounce. We finally started to see a little bit of it. I think we got room to go higher. XLE actually did wonderful today. Ended up going up 100% on those calls that we were up 40% on Friday that I talked about last week. Let's see, what else are we looking at? Tesla delivery numbers came in bad. That ended up selling off kind of as I expected as well. Although Rivian did come out at the end of the day and after hours with some good news on their pre-earnings announcement and on the number of cars they're going to be able to produce this year. So we did see a little bit of pop in the EV sector in after hours. Definitely something to keep on the watch list for tomorrow, coming into Tuesday. I will be looking at Rivian. What I like about Rivian tomorrow is we came right up into a volume gap. Let me go on the 15-minute here. Let me look at the hourly. Hourly's a little bit better. 3-month. Yeah, you can see this volume shelf right here. We popped up. We ended up closing the day. We got about 5 minutes left in the after hours. 33.93, give or take. But you can see, we got room in this volume gap all the way up to $38. Potentially get it back to 40 if we get a nice, rally and the market sentiment stays hot for us. So this is one I'm definitely watching for tomorrow. Looking to get in some, calls. Personally, what I was looking at as far as calls on Rivian is I do like the 18 November 40 calls. Looks like there's some decent volume and open interest on those today. And then if you want to play weeklies, I still want to get some time and play the 35s for 28 October. So I'll be looking for, a little bit of pullback to hop into some of those and see how they go tomorrow. But definitely if the sentiment continues, I think Rivian can see a nice pop here. They're looking pretty good going into their next earnings. Also, we do have third quarter earnings coming up very soon. A lot of people are kind of nervous about these. I think they're going to be a little bit better than expected because you got to remember a lot of these earnings, everything's lagging. It's looking back. So I'm expecting this quarter earnings to be fairly decent still. It's the outlooks we got to be concerned about. That's what's going to drive some of these stock prices down is the outlooks. But if they do come out with a decent outlook, we can see the stocks actually make some nice runs in the end of the year. So kind of my strategy now is to be long into the end of the year, start looking for downside coming into the new year. So that's kind of what my strategy is now. It can always change. Emotions left out. We're going to trade what the market gives us, and hopefully we continue seeing some upside. Get out of this balance that we've been in. So as you can see, the last couple of weeks we're just a battle to find that final low. And we may not have found it, but I'm pretty confident in longs. Especially, we start getting up here over 37.40. That's my next big target on SPX. And we get over that, then obviously the real resistance we're going to see next is 3,900. I don't think 3,800 is going to give us as much of a problem if we really get going. So 3,900 is my next target on any of my SPY swings. And of course that's on SPX. So if we look at SPY, I can give some levels on that as well. If we look at SPY, levels are going to be similar but not quite the same because everything got readjusted when we switched futures contracts this past month and we went from September to December contracts. ES gained 20 points, so it's got, for a while there SPX and ES were trading at basically the same price, and then when we switched contracts and went to December from September, we had that 20-point differential come into play. Alright, so what I'm looking at on SPY, obviously 380, close to 390. It's still going to be close to 390, but it's going to be more like 392 now if SPX can get to 3,900. So that's kind of my target coming in to the October into November. And that's always subject to change. We want to see this continuation this week. We got a lot of jobs numbers this week, so we're going to be paying close attention to those. All right, so let's go back and look at Tesla for a minute. As I said, I said earlier the delivery numbers came in bad, although bad is relative. They did set new records for deliveries this quarter. So I feel like they just had a little bit too big of a number out there for expectations. They put a new record out there, over 350,000 deliveries made versus around 250,000. So they did increase 100,000 quarter over quarter. That's kind of why I'm interested in longs down here. I feel like we've sold off enough on Tesla now. I'd really like to grab them off this 238 level, which is the point of control on the volume profile most recently. I just don't think that we're going to see these down here around 209 to 210 in the very near future. I think we're in, the market's kind of in a mood for a bear market rally. We got pretty oversold. So, Tesla had quite the sell-off, the last few days, especially today after, those delivery numbers were announced over the weekend. And then when the Rivian news came out, we saw a little pop on all the EV stocks after hours. They got a little bit of sympathy. So coming in tomorrow, I'll definitely have some close eyes on the entire sector. Rivian especially. I'm probably most definitely going to get into some calls on Rivian. But Tesla will also be on the watch list. See if they can sustain, get back over the 250 level. Really 252 is kind of what I want to see. So I might, run some same week calls on Tesla if it's looking pretty good tomorrow. We'll see how the flow is at open. But definitely one to keep your eyes on tomorrow. And also last week, when I started talking about XLE, I talked about, we were right. We were coming down, hitting this volume shelf. We were oversold in the energy sector. We could have sold down to 65, 66, but we didn't. We got the bounce right at the volume shelf. We've already pushed back through this volume shelf into 75 and a little bit above now. So, we're looking for some continuation here. We could reject here, but it's not likely because I feel like sentiment has shifted back in the energy sector, especially with the news from OPEC that they're going to cut production again. So we're going to continue riding our XLE calls as well, along with our SPY calls. And we're going to see if we can start to push, back up and try and get a breakout over 80. Then we're actually in December calls and March of next year calls on XLE. If you're in the Discord with us on Bullprint, I think we could see these. We're in 90 calls for next March, and I definitely could see us pushing back up to these highs from this year and giving them a real test. So we're looking to run those into the money. We're in 75s for December, and we're already in the money on those. So those have done really well. Probably end up closing those this week, depending upon where we stand, because we already have a nice position for March of next year. So we'll probably take some profits on these and let the March runners ride. Alright, and to finish up this video today, I'd like to talk a little bit about following the media for trades. I definitely don't think it's a good idea. We saw ended last week and all weekend nothing but negative sentiment. There's other YouTubers and other influencers out talking about the market's going lower, we're headed for a crash, watch out for the waterfall incoming, which could still happen. I still think it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen yet. We got to some key levels. We bounced off a clear support from September of 2019, 2020. And that's just what it is right now. We're seeing some bullish sentiment come back into the market. Every time people, I've been bearish since 4,300, after the rally that took us into August, to 43.27, I believe was the high. Get bearish up there. Don't get bearish at the bottom, but when it's already sold off 700 points. You got to already be in those shorts. You don't want to be shorting down at 35.70. That's how you get trapped. So, I'm here to help retail traders make better decisions. Try to avoid following exactly what the media is saying. 90% of the time they're wrong. There are some people that make the right calls out there, but if you're trying to sift through everything, it's hard to find them. And 1 week one person might be right, next person might be somebody completely different. But the predictions, I was just watching Cantor Fitzgerald today. They just a week ago, less than 10 days ago, they were talking about that we're going to go to 3,000. Now he came out today on CNBC, same guy from Cantor Fitzgerald, and he said, we're going to rally 10 to 15% into the end of the year, which is fine. I kind of agree with that. If he would have watched my videos last week, he would have, he could have went off what I said instead of waiting until today to get it out after we already rose 3%. So it's just kind of funny, I just want to remind you guys, there's good resources out there. I always, like I said before, I recommend you join us on the Discord. For real, check us out in the Discord. The name's Bullprint. There's a link to it in the description of this video. Be sure to check us out. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. We're putting out bangers every day. I'm going to start getting some videos out of some of our plays too. Show you kind of the success rate we've had and where we're going. All right, we're definitely a growing Discord. We're trying to help the retail trader out. We got your back. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe. Check me out next time. Thanks for watching Who's Boy Trades. Appreciate you.